Welcome back. It's 33 degrees now in Jackson. A lot of us waking up to these very cold temperatures in the upper 20s and lower 30s. Been keeping an eye on the wind speeds. They're not too bad right now, but they are a tad breezy. They will be picking up in their speed as we head through the afternoon. That's going to make for a very chilly feel to our day. The temperature is going to rise into the low and mid 40s, but it's going to feel more like upper 30s and lower 40s. Now tonight, as the thermometer takes a dive, we'll still keep in that wind chill factor. It'll be very cold, feeling close to 10 degrees for some.
Thanks, Julia. You can join state leaders and concerned citizens at the Mississippi Leadership and Vision Roundtable to discuss the quality of life in the state. Duvalier Malone is here to tell us more about Rise Together. Duvalier, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Just kind of what sparked this event? What made you think about it and trying to put it into action?
And looking at the educational systems there in Southwest Mississippi, just recently we had a few articles who came out where school districts are beginning to become F schools and the threat of the state actually taking over those school systems. So I decided to have a roundtable discussion where we can get state leaders in to look at the causes behind why the school districts are failing. And so we're going to be discussing also issues around why education is failing. For example, we're going to look at poverty, and we're going to talk about how poverty has a direct impact on the educational systems there. And so I first started off the panel discussion thinking I'll bring in educators from across the state of Mississippi. Then I thought about it. I said, if I only bring in educators, there will be only one side of the discussion. So in the discussion, we're going to have legal professionals there. We're going to have medical professionals there. We're going to have educators from all aspects of education, from elementary education to higher education. Presidents of universities will be there, all to join in a diverse conversation of how we can directly improve education, not only in Southwest Mississippi, but across the state of Mississippi.
And you made the reference to those reports that are coming out, which I guess sometimes we can become numb to it. You just hear it over and over again. But how do you galvanize that effort to kind of get this in motion to really improve education here? That's
what we're going to be looking at. Our discussion is going to be on how we can create solutions. So during the round form discussion, we're going to have a media relations representative there from Alcorn State University. They're going to be taking minutes on solutions as well as issues that are arrived. When we come up with those solutions, we're going to take those minutes, we're going to send those out, and we're going to go not just in Southwest Mississippi, but this Mississippi Vision and Roundtable discussion will be traveled across the state of Mississippi. So we'll be in North Mississippi, we'll be in Central Mississippi and the Mississippi Delta. And then we're going to come back to Jackson to actually host a Mississippi Vision and Leadership Conference to address the issues that we came up with as we toured on this discussion.
But the start point for Rise Together will be at Alcorn State University, January 25th, 2014, starts at 6 p.m. There will be an opportunity for people that attend to ask questions, and Duvalier will be moderating the event. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, there's information on the screen. We're going to be back with more of your local news and weather.
Good morning, I'm Cheryl Lassiter. In our news this morning, a fire still burns at a biodiesel plant near New Albany. The State Highway Patrol says firefighters are keeping watch over the blaze that started about 5:30 Wednesday morning. The fire is too hot for firefighters to approach, so they're letting it burn out. No injuries have been reported, but 50 homes in the area have been evacuated and schools are also canceled. Once the fire burns itself out, investigators will move in. Here's First Alert meteorologist Julia Wyden.
Thanks, Cheryl. Well, what we're dealing with today is cool temperatures. Right now, the temperatures are in the upper 20s and lower 30s. As we progress through the day, our thermometer will rise into the mid 40s, but we're not going to ever really feel that mild because we have a good wind chill to deal with today. The winds out of the north-northeast, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tonight, we'll hang on to that wind and the temperatures drop further down into the teens. It'll feel close to 10 degrees for most of us and even the single digits for some. Now, tomorrow is going to be another chilly day. Your high temperature in the mid and upper 30s. Saturday and Sunday, much better, mid 50s, but will be cold again next week.
More than 24 applicants say they are interested in setting up the first charter school in Mississippi. 8 groups say they want to open a school in the city of Jackson, but interest spans 15 districts from Moss Point to Marshall County. Not all groups who submit letters will necessarily follow through with an application. Applications are due March 14th with the board and is scheduled to vote on approvals in June. The board can only approve 15 schools per year. A controversial subject is up for discussion: guns in classrooms.
House Bill 64 would allow willing teachers and employees to have a concealed weapon as long as they have the proper certification and training. Each school district's superintendent would make the decision. Supporters say this would give schools an extra line of defense, but some are worried what might happen if a gun were on campus, even in the hands of a trusted person like a teacher.
Jackson Academy has been recognized for the way it uses technology. The metro area school is an Apple Distinguished School. What does that mean? Well, each student from kindergarten through 12th grade has an Apple device, such as a MacBook Air, iPad, or iPod Touch. That empowers students and teachers to enhance learning. Teachers post lessons, assignments, and content to an online portal, allowing students and parents to monitor progress. JA has helped other schools in Mississippi and other states that are developing similar programs.
And we have this follow-up. The company called Airwave will no longer be cutting grass around the county's 6 radio towers. This week, the Hinds County Board of Supervisors canceled the site maintenance contract worth $122,000 a year, along with mowing around the towers. The contract duties included maintaining the generators and tower lights, but board president Darrell McQuarter, along with supervisors Peggy Hobson-Calhoun and Tony Greer, believe that work can be taken care of internally.
We can get the sheriff's department to do that and our public. So we thought it was prudent, and so that's what we decided to do.
We're just looking forward to getting the county on track and doing proper business.
The board attorney will advise members on how soon that cancellation can take effect.
Later this morning, we'll hear from the owner of Biloxi's new minor league baseball team, Ken Young. He'll hold a news conference at 10:30 to discuss his plans for baseball in downtown Biloxi. Young's appearance comes just a day after the city council got a briefing on ballpark construction plans. As Steve Phillips reports, money is tight and time is critical when it comes to building the team's future home.
It's the eve of the baseball stadium's groundbreaking, and many are already anticipating what's to come. Local merchants believe the minor league sport will not only add revenue for their shops, but also more value to Biloxi.
I think it's absolutely a wonderful, wonderful asset to the community. It's going to not only help the existing businesses, but I think it's going to generate a lot new businesses coming in. I think new restaurants.
When you're putting something that big in the area, all it's going to do is help out with the value of everything.
Locals too believe the arrival of the Southern League will draw more visibility.
It's really awesome, and I can't wait.
And people to the coast.
Any kind of new blood, in addition to what we already have, only makes the suit better.
Instead of having to drive to Mobile to see the games or go over to New Orleans to see some different sporting events, it's going to be nice just to have it right here in Biloxi.
And right here is where more tourists will be.
And bringing bodies into downtown Biloxi, I think it's going to be a wonderful thing.
As long as people go to the games, I think we'll see an increase in revenue for most of the businesses throughout this area.
In Biloxi, Asha Staples, WLOX News.
Again, team owner Ken Young will speak at a news conference at 10:30 this morning. You can stay tuned to msnewsnow.com for the very latest on it.
One of the more outspoken opponents of the baseball stadium project had some words for warning for city council members at yesterday's meeting. City Council watchdog Mary Rose Leahy says Biloxi citizens will wind up footing the bill for a project that is not in the best interest of taxpayers.
This whole fiasco started with sleazy and shady, and it continues now to be sleazy and shady, and I guarantee you by the end of it, it'll be dark time shady and very, very sleazy, and the citizens of Biloxi, the taxpayers, they're going to be the ones that are going to have to pay the bill.
And this isn't the first time she's spoken out against the stadium project. She has also shared her concerns at previous council meetings and before the Planning Commission.
Demolition is now underway on a very big eyesore in Biloxi. Crews started tearing down the concrete and steel that was to be a new Margaritaville resort back in 2007. Officials with the Grand Casino Biloxi say plans are in the works to transform that prime property on Highway 90 into an outdoor amenity. The casino's name will also change to Harrah's Gulf Coast.
Hundreds of people marched in downtown Hattiesburg Wednesday to commemorate Freedom Day. The march was the first of several events to remember and celebrate the 50th anniversary of Freedom Summer in 1964. That's the year thousands of college students, young people, and others organized an effort to help African Americans in Mississippi register to vote. Along with commemorating the events of 50 years ago, the marchers also collectively called on the city of Hattiesburg to erect a monument honoring and remembering the sacrifice of those citizens. These are citizens who courageously fought for civil rights half a century ago.
A recent poll in Louisiana reveals that more than half of the people living in that state would support changing state laws to regulate and tax marijuana. Louisiana lawmakers are now discussing that possibility. A study is underway to look into the pros and cons of the concept. The idea came after a state law passed years ago allowing doctors to prescribe substance for medical use. But because marijuana is illegal in Louisiana, patients are not able to get those prescriptions.
And coming up 1 year and counting, Black Girls Run Jackson. Well, they're celebrating, and they'll join us on the other side of this break to speak about Saturday's celebration.
Plus, how safe is your child's car seat really? Current guidelines don't require them to protect your child in a side impact crash, at least not yet. More on that in a minute.
You're watching Fox 40 News with Cheryl Lassiter, Brandon Artilles, and Julia Wyden.
A transportation study task force says Mississippi does not generate enough money to take care of its highways.
However, the task force has not offered a funding solution. Senate Transportation Committee Chairman Willie Simmons hoped the panel would decide where to get more revenue for improvements. The final report found that 25% or 20,000 miles of highways are in very poor condition and that $400 million is needed every year for highway improvements.
Expect traffic delays and some exits to be closed as crews continue to work on I-55 in Jackson. In the past week, a third lane has been added to I-55 in Madison County, south of Highway 463, which has helped cut down on rush hour delays in that area. On I-55 South, McDowell Road had to be closed over the weekend, and Elton Road is now closed while the exit is being rebuilt. Once the construction ends, I-55 will have 6 lanes all the way from Highway 463 south past the Byram exit through Jackson. The project is scheduled to be finished in April of 2016 with a price tag around $94 million.
Being a motorcycle officer is dangerous work. That's why the recertification training being done in Gulfport this week is so important. Gulfport PD held its annual training for its motorcycle officers yesterday. Other officers from around the region were also there. The training involves various maneuvers that could be needed during patrols.
Consider a motorcycle officer is when he's riding out on the highways, it's a multitasking event for him every time he puts his body on a motorcycle traveling up and down the highways. You have a lot of things that are happening outside of the basic things that they teach with clutch, throttle, brake, head and eyes operations of a motorcycle.
And as you can see, all cones left standing. Looks like they're doing well. The instructors are from Mississippi, California, New Hampshire, and other states.
The Obama administration is proposing new safety guidelines for car seats.
They want to make sure child restraints protect kids in side impact crashes. Andrew Spencer reports.
It's easy for a parent to assume their child will be safe when they put him in a car seat. That's what the car seat's for. But despite government guidelines and safety standards, that might not always be the case. This promotional video highlights one of the major concerns. A crash from the front isn't the same as a crash from the side.
When you look at a frontal or rear collision with a vehicle, there's a lot of structure there in the front and the rear.
In a side impact, you're literally right at that door. It'll crush the door will crush into the panel, and then as it's going in, it'll actually hit the child restraint.
Many car seats have safety features meant to protect kids in side impact crashes, but there aren't any federal guidelines that require them. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said Wednesday that products like this can be effective, but officials want to establish protocols to make sure they are.
The proposed upgrades would include the first ever side impact test for car seats sold in the United States that are designed for children weighing up to 40 pounds.
While car seat companies such as Safety First tout their own testing methods, the government agency that oversees them wants formal performance standards and wants to implement a sled test involving an actual vehicle that T-bones another. The Obama administration believes these standards would help save the lives of 5 children every year and keep dozens more from being injured. For Fox 40 Morning News, I'm Andrew Spencer.
On Toronto's mayor, you remember, Rob Ford. After a new video of Ford slurring his words was posted on the internet Monday, Ford admitted that he had been drinking again with friends last year after he said he had smoked crack in a drunken stupor. He said he would stop drinking. In the latest video, Ford is seen swearing in a Jamaican accent